Hello, hello, hello. It's Anne Lewis, your independent Stampin' Up demonstrator, based on the Sunshine Coast here in Brisbane. Oh, sorry, I've gone back a couple of years. Here on the Sunshine Coast in Queensland, Australia. I'll just throw you up so that you can see me. Hey, how are you? Hey, tonight I'm doing a little different way of projects because I'm showcasing these. They're not all here. Wait a minute, I'm just going to reach for them. These gorgeous, hopefully you can see them, large, huge, impressive, stunning alphabet dies called Party Alphabet Dies, and they're found in the Annual Catalogue. And I might just throw you back down to the desk again. If you are watching, leave a comment and let me know that you can see and hear me. Then I know I don't have any technical issues. And I'm just going to, I'll throw you, don't you like how I throw you around? Throw you down to my desk so you can have a look. Now, on page 86, you see these gorgeous alphabet dies. Now, they're not that big when you look at them here, but they're pretty darn big. Well, I'm making them sound like they're giants, but they are a lot bigger than some of our alphabet dies have been recently. And so they are part of a bundle, and you can also get these fabulous dies as part of the bundle. Now, they're not part of a suite, unfortunately, but which, as you probably know, we've got a BOGO of buy one and get one 50% off. Now, all the details for the BOGO, because there's a few ways of making sure it works for you, are on my Facebook page, and if you're on my mailing list, check your emails because I've just sent an email out in the last couple of days. And if you're not in my mailing list, subscribe. Go to my blog, hit subscribe, and so that you keep up to date with everything. Rightio. So I'm just checking my comments. Hi, Joanne. Just let me know if you can see and hear me. That would be great. Rightio. So these are what they look like. I'm going to do completely different things with them because I'm going to show you how to use them both for scrapbooking and card making. Now, my samples tonight are all cards, and I've got lots of samples, so much more than I normally have. And just because there's so many different ways of using these dies. Now, as you can see, they are pretty darn big, and if I had a ruler, so they are I'm pretty sure 2 1/4 high, which is maybe 55 millimeters high, and you get an 1.5 inches wide, or about 4 centimeters, just under 35, well, about 38 millimeters. So they're impressive, and they really pop everything. And Joanne can hear and see me. Hi, Miss Glenda. Hi, Lynette. Rightio. So this is the card that I made as one of my many samples. As I said, I've got so much to show you, so stay to the end because I kind of build as we go along. Now, in this sample, and I'm not sure I'm even going to repeat any of my samples, but I'm looking for a pokey tool here. Where's a pokey tool? Rightio, can't find it. Rightio. So this layer here I embossed because it just looked a little plain, and someone's been asking me lately, telling me lately that they don't use their embossing folders very often. I use mine all the time, and even on a floral pattern paper like this, I'm hoping that you can see how much nicer it even makes that texture. It even adds to it. And I always say to create more interest in your cards, There's lots of things you can do. Layers. This card's got tons of layers, textures, patterns, and different placement of elements, and also some bling. And you can see I've added a little bit of bling here. Now, because these dies are quite large, a standard size card, which, as you know, I try and keep to standard size cards, which makes it easier for me and also for you. You don't get a lot of letters on, but I've got ways of showing you how to make the most of these. And remember, all these tips can be used for scrapbooking as well. And I've got a whole sheet of different ideas over here I can't wait to show you. So I've just used basic white. This is Pretty Peacock. I've just added some embellishments, which I'm not even sure of the name anymore, but I think they're retired. Trying to use up all my retired elements before I buy any more. Let's use what we got for a little while. And this paper is gorgeous. Wait a minute, I've just got to reach it. I haven't heard Kiko's stirring it, so I'm hoping. This is called the Florals in Bloom Designer Series paper. It's double-sided, so it has what I would call an A and a B side. So B side, A side, nothing wrong with the B side, but normally, like if it's floral, it will have a geometrical pattern on the back. So look how gorgeous these colours are. And even the backs are pretty nice. I have used just about a sheet of this tonight. One of each sheet, not this one, even though it's so pretty. And I didn't use this one either, I don't think. But how pretty are they? They're just gorgeous florals. Now, Stampin' Up keeps saying, well, we keep saying to Stampin' Up, more florals, and they keep saying, that's because you keep buying the beautiful florals that we make, and it's so true. Now, I've got my little ruler there. Now, so I just die cut these out of normal cardstock, added a sentiment from the Simply Said. You see me use this Simply Said stamp set every week, every class, because it is so easy to use and it has the basics sentiments. So I've just done a Let's Celebrate. Now, I'm going to show you a different version of that card. I've done a little bit of the cutout. So I'm using the same paper, but it was a different part of the paper. You can see it's the same paper. So this time I've again just got a standard base, standard card base, which is, just in case you knew, is 8 1/4 inches by 5 1/2 inches. I then have a piece of shaded spruce, which I've cut down to, it's looking a little, I must need a new blade in my trimmer. It's looking a little hairy, that's how you know. Let's turn it over this side, it looks a bit better. So this is 3 7/8 by 5 1/4. So that's going to sit down like that. Now this is the cardstock, the Designer Series paper that I'm using, and you can see I've already die cut the letters out. That was just to save a bit of time because I've got so much to show you. But this time, in this one, I popped up the letters, right? You can see that popped up. This one, I'm going to show you how to do an inlay because it's just another way of using these letters. So now I could pop up these and so I could put dimensionals on here and here to make the whole thing pop, but I'm going to keep it flat just for ease for today. You know that you could add dimensionals if you wish. Now I want to show you when you're using these alphabet letters, whoops, you need to make sure you glue or add dimensionals to these little bits around here so that it actually sticks. So I'm just dropping this down back here. Now on the first one, remember I used Pretty Peacock. This time Shaded Spruce, because it just matched this section of that pattern. So I might pop this piece up. Have I got some normal dimensionals here? As I said, I've got so much to get through. I'm trying to come on, would you put more than that on or not? Come on. How many would you put on the back here? Because as you know, everyone teases me about putting too many dimensionals on. Just got to get my bin out of the way here so I can take those backings off. So I've taken all the backings off these. I think they are. You know you have when they're shiny. So let's put this up the right way. So as always, it's a little hard for me to line these up because I'm kind of know, because the camera's in the way and the lights, I am nowhere near. But anyway, you get the idea. So there's that many for you. One in each corner and one in the middle. So Joanne certainly doesn't use as many as me. Now, so I've got these letters. So I'm just going to add some adhesive. Now they drop into that space. Now, to be honest, and I was nearly going to show you this trick. See this paper here? The Shaded Spruce. I could have die cut these out, but I actually die cut them out of another piece of paper. That was just because I was a bit lazy. Now remember, there's always a right side and a wrong side to these dies. Now I could have also, which I didn't do tonight. Whoops, what's happened here? Whoops, got that upside down. So that's another thing. So there's a small how do I say? Does this crossbar sit close to the top or close to the bottom? I put it closer to the top. Now, there's something wrong with this because my B looks funny. It needs these centers. So when I die cut those out of the designer series paper, I kept these. Now, I'm thinking they're both the same shape. So let's just add a little bit of adhesive here and they'll pop into that space. There we go. That looks better now. So now you can actually see it's a H and a B. Now you didn't. Now, I also, where's the original card? So in the original card, I did the sentiment in white. But in this one, I felt that it needed a little bit more colour. Let's straighten this up. So I've actually heat embossed the sentiment, and it's still the same sentiment, let's celebrate. And you can see how that pops. Now this time, I will actually use some of the mini dimensionals and pop that up. Now you can see how easy and quick that card was. And it's quite stunning, and it uses up your designer series paper, so it's a great great card for your stash. And it doesn't take very long at all, and it is quite stunning. So I'll show you the difference. Where will I put this? Up here somewhere. I want it in the middle. Maybe just about there. But you can see how that then pops. And I mean, they both look good, but I like this one. Now, this one I didn't emboss because it didn't need it with those letters inlaid. So there's two cards. So which one do you like? The one that's popped up or the one that is what I would call an inlay. Let me know. Now, the other thing is, if I had of die cut, and I've got these letters here somewhere. Now, this is how to do an eclipse. Now, I've shown you before how to do an eclipse. Just disregard those, they'd turn green. But if I put these back in and pop them up, so the green peeps through, see how if I pop that up, it has all that shadow? That's called an eclipse card. And all you have to do is add dimensionals to the back here and pop it up. And look how special that actually looks as well. So that could have been my third technique, and that's an eclipse card. But you do need that green. You don't have to do an inlay because I had that shaded spruce behind there. But I love, love, love eclipse cards. But I've shown you a couple of years ago so many of those. So I thought I'd hang off and just show you how to do these two because they're just a little different. So you could have done 3 cards, and when you pop that out, you automatically, see, once you die cut those, you'll get those left over. I know, so I'm going to put those to the side, and I'm going to show you my next card, and I'm going to show you how to make this, I hope. Oh, I've actually done something a little different here. So this is my next one. So I've used a similar technique. Now, I've got to make a confession. This was supposed to be a shaker card. However, I put it all together and forgot to add the window sheet. But I really liked how it turned out. So whilst we go within one step of making this a shaker card, which would look fabulous, this time I'm not going to do a shaker card, but I can show you how it's going to turn out. Now, I've actually got all the tips here. Now, as you see, I used Hugs, so Hugs. Now, they 4 letters take up a slimline card. Now, my slimline card is, let's just measure it. This is the card base, is 8 1/4 inches by 8 1/4 inches, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. So I've done 8 1/4 inch square piece. Then I've just scored it at 4 1/8. And then I've just cut them down 1/8 smaller each layer to get it to turn out to look like this. Now, this has popped up fairly heavily, and I'm going to also explain how I did that. Then I'm going to show you what I actually did with these letters, because you can't waste those Hugs, if I can just say that. They want to go on another card, and I'll show you that once I do this. Now, so the idea is I'm going to be die cutting this. Now, there's always tips and tricks to make this easy, and I've shown you some of these tips before. I'm going to get rid of that grid paper and just work on my glass mat, and you'll understand the reason. I'm going to put this here. I'm just going to pick, so it's kind of centered, and that's only just to give me a bit of an idea. There's so many different ways you can do this, but the way I do it is I put this one, I pick a line at the bottom so that all my letters are lined up. And then I make sure that my designer series paper or cardstock or whatever I'm using is centered on my glass mat, grid paper or whatever. So I've got it just centered here. So I know that I'm hoping that this is going to, I haven't got it actually that centered. Oh, now let's come back over. So I just use the grid lines. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. The grid lines on this aren't as clear to, I don't know, so that's centered. And I've got little dashed lines that I'm lining it up with at the bottom. Rightio. Now I've got, so all I'm going to do is put these on down the bottom here. So it's the easiest thing is to place my S's, my two end ones, the H and the S, and then just space these using my grid, making sure the bottom's lined up. So I spread these out. So the center ones, I'm just making sure my spaces are even. Now, I've got some little tips for you. I've got something to show you. Oh, I'll show you that later, actually, because I've stuck it down on a board of ideas. Now, this is kind of one of those scrapbooking things I learned when I was scrapbooking, is how to do these really simply. So all I'm going to do is grab some low tack tape. That's hard to say. I'm pretty happy that that's kind of even. It's all lined up. Oh, that's, I can slide that up, get them nice and straight. I'm pretty happy with that. And all I'm going to do is put some low tack tape down. All right, break it off. Now, sometimes when you're die cutting, I hope I haven't spread those out too much. I may have to just put them through twice. Now, I put my mini out, and I don't think this will fit through my mini. Of course it won't. So I'll just grab my full size. Now, I'm going to peel that off. Shift this because it'll slide everywhere. Put it somewhere where hopefully I'm not going to knock it. And wait a minute, this has gone very crooked. Put this back in the hope that this is going to work. I don't. So there's my hugs, as you see, backwards. And my piece of paper's here. Oops. I know. So I've got my platform. I've got my thin die adapter. I just need to find some plates. As I said, I hadn't planned on using this, but it'll be fine. Okay, so now I need this up the right way. Oh, it just fits. And then all I have to do, because I've got the tape there, and this helps you if you're doing multiples, you can just keep using that tape till it wears out and just plonk it on. You don't have to arrange it. Hopefully I've spelled it right. H-U, and I've got it going the right way. All I have to do is line it up, stick it down just a bit. Whoops, I shifted that. Now, I'm pretty happy with that. And I might just move it up a little bit. So this is what it looked like on the first one. So let's grab the plate. Now, these, got to warn you, I've already lost mine. Oh, here it is. I have to warn you that when you're using these alphabet dies, because they're so big, they crack and creak. Doesn't mean anything going wrong, just that they crack and creak. So I'm just going to feed that through. Goes through pretty easy. I know it shakes the, as you hear, I told you it did crack and creak, but it die cuts them really well. So let's bring this back. Now, there is a bit of a secret here. You're going to gently peel this back. Now, I don't want those letters. You can see it did cut through that. And sometimes it does. And I picked this paper because it is pretty easy to use. This low tack tape. Let's go this side. So you just got to peel it because you don't want it catching any of that paper, and there's been a bit of pressure on it. So here's my gorgeous letters, but I don't want them, so I'm going to throw them away for the moment. As you know, I'm not going to get rid of them all together. Can't waste them. And you can see how gorgeous that has turned out. So that's going to sit just like that. So I'm going to put these out of the way so I don't lose them. Now, but I want it popped up, and I want it well and truly popped up. So I'm going to be using a product you don't see me use very often, which is the foam sheets. Now, I had a whole lot left over. I got any, like, I'd done all these circles with them. So I had all these little bits left over. Perfect for this job. Now, remember, if you're going to make this a shaker card, what you would do is add a window sheet. Glue all these bits down onto your window sheet. Make sure your window sheet is smaller than this sheet. And then, exactly what I'm kind of doing here, you'll have a shaker card. Oh, except you need some things to throw in as a shaker. Now, I'm also using, which I've kind of lost in my mess on my desk. But anyway, we'll work it out. So these, I just cut the sheets into little strips. Now, my strips are 3/8 of an inch, only because that seemed to work best for these letters, because these letters are so easy to put dimensionals behind. And I say that because we've had little ones and ones that have that are really, really hard to back, and you needed to die cut them out at the same time. So anyway, let's put that there. Now I'm using a lot of dimensionals. Remember that this could be, oops, I got that round the wrong way, a shaker card. So I'm showing you basically how to do a shaker card. So you get these as close to that die cut as you possibly can. So I would never, if I was just doing a raised card, put this many on, but I do want to show you in case that's what you want to do. Now, you also, I need to, because I need to keep the shaker in here, all those little bits. So, but I also need to make sure that these pieces are stuck down. So now I want to get, these are the same height. Not all our dimensionals come in the same height. If you use mini dimensionals, they are so much smaller or lower in height. Now, so I'm just using now our foam adhesive strips. Remember, I don't want any holes in case you're doing a shaker card. I love shaker cards, but as I said, just when you forget the sheet, it's a little hard. Now you can decide how much effort you want to go in between all these letters. You just need enough to keep the shaker going. Here's the sticky side. Now remember, because mine's not going to be a shaker card, I'm going to speed this up a little bit. Just finding the sticky side. Now you could actually, if you're not doing a shaker card, you could use your normal dimensionals. And you can see, normally I wouldn't use this much. It's not a shaker card. Add that little bit there, a little bit there. Now, that's a fair area not to have support, so I'm going to add some more of these. And you'll see how gorgeous this turns out. And you can see it's not difficult, especially if you're not doing a shaker card, because you wouldn't have to do all this. I'll just put a little bit down. Well, let's just shove that down there. Then I just have to peel it off. This is when I realised, when I did the first one, oops, forgot a layer, and I couldn't get up. I tried removing all the sheets, and I couldn't get up. And when you're using like either the sheets or the strips, make sure they're well stuck down. Wish I had my pokey tool. Can I find one? I normally have more than one. There it is. Makes it a lot easier. Now, when you've got this many dimensionals on, you only get one chance to get it in the right place on your project. You can't, it's not like the adhesive that I use where it slides everywhere. I've still got a couple more, but not too many. There you go. Now all I have to do is drop this on here. Now, as I said, it's always a little hard for me to line this up, but let's have a go. I know I'm working a little to my edge, but oh, that worked out pretty well. So see how stunning that looks just by adding the shaded spruce behind it. Then I can drop it on here. Now this card you could use with the word hugs, you could use for birthdays. Oops, that stuck down. Missed one of those. Just forgot to remove one of those backings. I obviously have forgotten this one as well. Righto, fixed. Then I'm going to put it straight down onto the basic white card base. And it just looks pretty special. And I like the change up of the slimline card. Now, you're going to say, what are you going to do for an envelope? I want to post this. Well, I got a little, I'll show you what I do for the envelope. Here. I just use a business envelope, and that's why I cut it to this size, because you can see it fits in a standard business envelope. So it doesn't even cost you any extra as long as you don't make the layers too big. So now where you can see how nice that's looking, I'm just going to find some little bling. So I added a bit of bling to add to it. So who else does slimline cards? So I'm just adding, I've got so much bling. I don't even know where I'm going to put this. Maybe there. I'm just going to randomly add these. I'm just going to add 3 to each one. But you can add what suits you. Oops. I know. is probably the hardest bit of this card. They're kind of cute, these, because they pick up a bit of the colour from the, oops, it's from that cardstock, so it picks up a bit of the green. I think they're holographic ones, actually, because they change a bit of colour. I've got what they are. Not sure. Anyway. Let's put this down here. It's whatever you find visually appealing here. Hi, Myrtle. I use a highlighted colour at the back, which makes them easy to see. Yeah. Rightio. So there's the card. So as you see, it's a lovely card, and it's a stunning card. Now, have all these letters left over. What am I going to do with them? I'm not going to show you. Well, I'm going to show you what I did with them. But, so I made another card with them. So all I've done is got a basic standard size card. I've added a white layer, a basic white. I'm hoping you can see that I've embossed it. And I've used the Join Together 3D embossing folder, which is part of the Kintsugi suite. Is a suite. This is part of a suite, so it is able to be got at 50% off. Now, I will talk to you about how to take the most out of that suite sale, but let's talk about this. I popped these up on those sheets, cut down like I've done there, but I did something else, and I'm not sure you're going to be able to see it, but let's show you the difference. Can you see the difference between the two H's? This one, I've actually highlighted the edges. Now, I've done it very simply. I'm using a different stamping blend for it. All I've done now, don't take any time to do this. I just run this around because it's got a white edge on it, and this makes it pop a little bit more. So just run this around, and that is, I've gone a little quick there, but anyway, I don't spend any time on this. I just zip it around, and then these will pop off the page. And that's why that pops so well. So that's card number 3. Have I got a card number 4? I don't know. Let's have a look. I know. So I've got that card, I've lost a card. Oh, we've got these 2 cards here. But I've got more to show you. Now, I want to give you some other ideas of how to use these dies. So this one I've just stamped on some cardstock. I used the Happy Hibiscus stamp set only because, it was on my desk. So how stunning does that look? And then I've just die cut out on some basic white. Now, on this one, I'm not sure you'll be able to see it. I've used an embossing folder. You could use whatever you got. Megs is my niece, and I wanted to see if I could fit Megs on a card like this. She won't be watching. Now, on this one, I die cut out the designer series paper. Then this is the B side of the designer series paper. And what I should have said is I cut a strip of this designer series paper, which is the flowers in bloom. Then on the B side, I also cut another strip just as wide as less than the letters. I then ripped, is this what I did? I have to think this through. I then ripped through the contrasting colour. They were already, and then stuck it down, so I've got one strip on top of another strip, then I die cut it. And then you get this really fabulous contrast that's here. So then my next one is I actually used blending brushes to get an ombre effect on the letters. Perfect for scrapbooking. I mean, all these are perfect for scrapbooking. Now, I wanted to show you this P here is here for a reason, because most of the time we're going to want sometimes a double letter, and some of our, where do we go here? Some of our words double up. So the letters, we may need two S's. Let's just, I'll peel off all this tape. I'll come back for it. But anyway, let's turn this over. So let's just say we want GUSS. Don't ask me why we would. And I want to die cut out like this, but I don't know how much space to leave here. So what I do, now I've got to turn this back over, is I die cut in using a post-it note, whatever the extra letter is that I don't have. And then I will stick the die cut down there. Then I can get my letters nicely arranged. I've got the right spacing between them, so there'll be a P there. And then I just have to wait and go back and re-die cut the P. So it's really easy when you do that, as long as you have like a template like that. Now, I will keep, well, I was going to keep my templates, but as you see, I've stuck that down, and that post-it note was so strong it won't pick up again, which is what I did expect it to. So you've got so many ideas for how to use these letters. And as I said, the ideas work for scrapbooking as well as card making. And I just think they're so neat and they're easy to use because they're not fine. Like some of our other letters to add dimensionals to, whilst they were gorgeous, they're a little hard to pop up, whereas these are super easy to pop up, as you've seen. IDEO. Now, the last thing is I do have a class if you're a local. So if you live on the Sunshine Coast or close to the Sunshine Coast, on the 29th of June, which will be a technique class. And I've already kind of decided what my techniques will be. So enroll. I'll be posting the photos ASAP. And also don't forget our, I'm just thinking the BOGO, the sweet. So the sweet SWEET, sweet SUITE sale that is currently on, which runs for all of June. If you buy, for example, if you buy one DSP from a suite and a second DSP from the same suite or a different suite, you get the second one at 50% off. Now, I could buy a stamp set and a DSP. The cheapest item will be the one 50% off. But I could buy two suites, and the second suite, which is a pretty good deal, is 50% off. And if you need any help with this, don't hesitate to contact me. And even better is that the last chance sale was released today, so it was updated. So there's some cheap products that you can also get 50% off again. So that is pretty darn special. So check out the last chance sale at my online store. And also you see, oh, you can't see the link. What happened here? That was supposed to show. There's my link to my online store. I thought that was there. So all you have to do is click there, go to the specials, and you will see what you can get at that great special offer. Rightio, let's show you just back up so that you can see me. Rightio, that's it for tonight. It is packed with hints. And for scrapbooking as well. So let me know which ones you like, whether you like slimline cards, whether you'd like me to do some more slimline cards. If not, I will see you next week. Bye for now. Have a great week. It's been a pretty good week for me. I'm slowly working my way through my craft room cleanup, just slowly. Bye for now. Have a great week.